So why don't we take a moment to stroll the gardens of yesterday and mercilessly bully and berate the year 2023 to make ourselves feel better. And what better way to do that than finding the moments that made us cringe the most? Starting off with the BAFTA Rap. Oh, you forgot, didn't you? God knows I did. And I was happier before researching for this article made me remember it. Sweet, well-intentioned Ariana DeBois gave us a leave the room level of cringeworthy at the 2023 BAFTA Awards when she broke into a rap live on television celebrating the women in the audience. Her performance came just 1 year after she won the Academy Award for the Best Actress in Supporting Role for her performance in West Side Story. So they have her up on stage to perform medleys of Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves and We Are Family. But then she transitions into an original rap about the nominees, and it didn't take long for the lyrics to come under mass scrutiny. Arguably the most famous segment of the bespoke song was Angela Bassett did the thing, Viola Davis, my woman king, Blanchett Kate, you're a genius, and Jamie Lee, you are all of us. And to make things even more awkward, the BAFTA director cut to each nominee as they're shouted out, only for the women to look confused and unimpressed. By the time that the BAFTAs were over, the musical number had already gone viral on both sides of the Atlantic, and unfortunately for Ariana, viewers did not hold back as they shared their reactions. Quote, Ariana DeBois, you're an Oscar winner, you don't have to do this, I promise, one person tweeted. Someone else tweets, I love Ariana, but this made me cringe out of my skin. It ultimately culminated with the BAFTA organizers coming to her defense and an embarrassed Ariana deactivating her Twitter account. Everything about The Idol is next. It needs no explanation, yet here I am to explain. The series was created by The Weeknd, his producing partner Reza Fahim, and Euphoria's Sam Levinson. But by March of 2022, before the filming was even halfway complete, The Idol had drawn heavy criticism after Rolling Stone published an expose interview with 13 members of cast and crew, detailing problematic rewrites that led to the project being described as torture, P-word, and accused of becoming its own plotline, which is sick men acting out fantasies on women who work for them and are weak to their power. Things got even worse when episode 2 aired, and the last 10 minutes of it is The Weeknd's character Tedros talking dirty to Lily Rose's Jocelyn as she pleasures herself in front of him, followed by an intercourse scene now dubbed as the worst in history online. The uncomfortable scene was mercilessly dragged online due to The Weeknd's cringe-inducing performance, with one viral tweet reading, the funniest part about this is how sexy he thinks when he doesn't look attractive, like at all. Another wrote, yes, this show is very bad, but it's extra cringe when you remember that The Weeknd was there going, yeah, definitely leave that in the cut. More of me doing that, it's very cool. Others questioned whether anybody involved in the production had ever actually had intercourse before, and The Weeknd specifically was compared to Gollum scurrying for a fish. Not just cringe, but a controversial queen is up next. So just weeks after it's announced that the pop star Taylor Swift had quietly split from her boyfriend of more than 6 years, Joe Alwyn, she's romantically linked to the British singer Matt Healy. But what was so wince-inducing here is that he's a little bigot. He's made anti-Jewish comments and poses on stage when performing with his band, the 1975, and then like 2 months before he and Taylor start dating, he's involved in a podcast episode making racial comments about the rapper Ice Spice and admitting that in the same appearance he gets off to the idea of black women being harmed. So yeah, that sounds right up Taylor Swift's alley. And instead of giving up her boy toy for his evil opinions when her fans started freaking out, she doubled down on the decision to be with them, and the two were repeatedly spotted attending parties, ducking in and out of the New York City home, even kissing just out in public. But when both Matty and Taylor mouthed the exact same words to each other during their respective shows in apparent secret declaration of their love, quote, this is about you, you know who you are, I love you, was said by Matty at his May 3rd concert while on stage, and Taylor did the same thing at her May 5th show in Nashville. The angry outpour was insane. Taylor's most dedicated fans actually started demanding refunds for their Era Tour tickets and canceling the Speak Now Taylor's version pre-orders in response to who she was choosing to associate with. But Taylor remained defiant and defended Matty as the criticism grew. And just days after Matty's troubling podcast comments resurfaced, she made a point of ignoring the offense and stated, I've never been happier in my life in all aspects of my life ever before. Despite this, and amid the relentless backlash, Taylor and Matty's whirlwind romance is over at the end of the month. Shortly after, a podcast clip of Matty laughing as his friends referred to Taylor's mom as Miss Piggy surfaced online. So I guess it was okay when it happened to other women women, but not when it happened to her. Speaking of the ignorant stars, the homewrecker made quite a cringy partner choice this last year, and now even into this year. Since 2014, Ariana Grande has been accused by significant others and strangers alike of pervasively pursuing married or tied down men to take as her new boo. And yes, homewrecker is the word, because she intentionally goes for partners with spouses. In fact, Ariana knew the spouse of her most recent boyfriend, Ethan Slater, so well that they were friends. She even held her newborn baby, and then a couple of days after that, Ethan drops divorce papers on his nursing wife's lap and leaves her to go be with Ariana, who had served husband Dalton Gomez papers 3 days prior to them being first seen as a couple. So, part of the whole field day with this scandal isn't just how disgusting it is, it's also embarrassing and cringy who Ethan is. This is who Ariana was willing to risk it all for, one Twitter user wrote, commenting on a photo of Ethan dressed as an adult baby. Others immediately began posting his SpongeBob performances from Broadway, and then came the red carpet interviews. The horrible smirk. Easily his most clowned and cringe moment is a clip of Ethan being interviewed on the Wicked red carpet, where he randomly freezes and does this like caricature theater kid smirk thing. Tons of TikTok users made stitches of the clip, mocking his oh so cringe mannerisms, like this one. Easy to say Ariana may be in a midlife crisis, even more than that circus freak is. Next up is Spitballin'. It's 2023. You're presenting the biggest award ceremony on the planet, and one of the guests is Malala. So, what are you gonna do? This is an educational activist, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and at age 15, she incredibly defied death. What do you ask this girl? Well, you probably don't ask her about one of the more trivial moments from like 3 months ago, but you and I are not Jimmy Kimmel hosting the Oscars, who asked Malala about so-called Spitgate, the widely debunked event that set the internet ablaze because it kind of looked like Harry Styles had spit on Chris Pine. To quote, "You work on human rights and education for women and children is an inspiration," Kimmel set up. As the youngest Nobel Prize winner in history, I was wondering, do you think Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine? To be fair, it was an attempt at his juxtaposition of a serious then silly sort of thing, but like the aforementioned Irish jokes Kimmel had made earlier in the night, it's just not landing. It was out of date, mostly irrelevant, mostly kind of weird to put the woman on the spot about. What's she supposed to say to that? Speaking of Harry Styles, he learned the cringe way what not to say. In his acceptance speech for Album of the Year at the Grammys in February of 2023, Harry Styles had the tone deafness to announce that this doesn't happen to people like me very often. While some fans pointed out Harry might have been referring to an aspect of his identity we don't know outside of being a white cis man, which is vague at best and arguable queer baiting if that's the case, others actually properly criticized him on the grounds that the majority of Album of the Year winners have been other white cis men. This doesn't happen to people like me often, quoted one Twitter user before adding, "We beg to differ, Harry. Mediocre white men get glamorized, rewarded, and awarded over exceptionally talented, amazing black women like Beyonce all day, every day." And then another tweeted, "A black woman hasn't won in over 20 years and a hip-hop artist hasn't won in 19 years. A white man won in 2015. He seemingly responded to this backlash in his acceptance speech for Artist of the Year at the Brit Awards, saying, "I'm really, really grateful for this. I'm very aware of my privilege up here tonight." This dude saying dumb things meant we got to watch his career crash and burn. Of course, I'm talking about Matt Rife, who went from funny man whose playful crowd work earned him an audience of female fans and a mass TikTok following to indignant Saturdays are for the boys Mojo Jojo Matcha Man. He was always this way, but he just hit it really well until his ego got too fame inflamed and he just couldn't anymore. Rife struggled to maintain a career before getting veneers jaw surgery and a consequential TikTok lust that drove him to fame. But before that, however, you may remember his black scent and appropriation phase from his Wild 'N Out days, and the deeply cringy 2015 segment in which Rife, 19, brashly hits on 18-year-old Zendaya, first with a crass, racialized joke, "You're mixed, I wanna be black," and then grabbing her chin without consent, provoking backlash from the comedians on stage. Rife's open joking in his highly hated, low-rated comedy special, in which he makes fun of domestic dispute, is now the one getting all the attention for cringe content now. There's a deeply cringe extended segment about intellectual disabilities, and he included a terrible joke that was actually allegedly stolen like verbatim from the late comedian Ralphie May. There's tons of other derogatory opinions and commentary. And then on November 20th, he posts a response to the backlash he got for it on his Instagram story. "If you've ever been offended by a joke I told, here's the link to my official apology." The link took you to a website to purchase a helmet. This inevitably led to more backlash. The smear campaign is next, so singer Joe Jonas officially filed for divorce from actress Sophia Turner on September 5th. However, the drama started when sources told TMZ on September 3rd that Jonas was caring for the two children all alone while while on tour, and Sophie's an evil bad mom who likes to party while he stays at home. On the opposite hand, reports published by TMZ on September 7th said Jonas was less than supportive after Turner gave birth to their second child in July of 2022, and that Turner was the one at home while Jonas went to parties and events. He even allegedly complained at an event that Turner was MIA and she needed to get out more. It's very obvious that Joe's PR team was leaking stories to the press about Sophie to make her look bad. It was sloppily done. The first version of the story is that she's a partier and Joe had to do all the parenting. There's ample footage and evidence that situation in reality is reversed. Then things got even more embarrassing because his team, aka sources close to Joe, started releasing a comical number of successive stories about the divorce, including the Ring doorbell drama. So imagine a girl, you know, in college who's starting her career and is young and carefree and is 20 years old, dates a 27-year-old guy for about a year, which in the grand scheme of things is not really that long, before getting engaged, marrying him, having 2 kids, all in a pretty short amount of time. And furthermore, that older husband asks that now 21-year-old fiance, who's a prominent character on the most popular show of all time, to settle down and not pursue her career as much and instead focus on raising the kids, then makes her a villain in a divorce. Cringy. Our second to last segment is about how no one likes a ukulele. YouTube has had its fair share of scandals from Shane Dawson to James Charles, but one cringe queen stole the crown of the worst 2023 scandal, and that's Colleen Ballinger. In June, several of her fans called her out for inappropriate behavior towards them through private text groups she's used in years prior. Adam McIntry, for example, released their own videos about past communications where they shared that Ballinger had sent them a pair of underwear via the mail. In response to these allegations, Ballinger posted a video in June 2023 of her apologizing through a horrible, quirky girl ukulele song. The lyrics included singing, "I just wanted to say that the only thing I've ever G-worded is my 2 Persian cats." Like, on November 18th, she came back to YouTube with a fall vlog and apologized for the ukulele video, but the damage was done, and she was never funny anyway. And our big 2023 cringe cage match winner is Adam's text. When you read Adam Levine's flirty texts, a couple of seconds pass, but they feel like years. You leave that with an urge to throw your phone away. It all began when the 23-year-old Instagram model named Sumner Stroh caused social media havoc, claiming on TikTok she'd been having an affair with the then 43-year-old Maroon 5 lead vocalist Adam Levine. In an Instagram post, Levine denied any affair took place, but confessed to using poor judgment in speaking with anyone other than my wife in any kind of flirtatious matter. Poor judgment is what you call asking Sumner Stroh if she would have an issue with you naming your 3rd child with your wife, the hottie, which she was expecting at the time, after her. Cue the floodgates of public outrage, and then other women claiming Levine had flirted with them too, and then the texts. Well, they're the worst things I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen some things. Watching your ass jiggle on that table will permanently scar me, one message read. I'd do anything for it. I'd buy it a steak and whisper sweet nothings into it. It is truly unreal how effing hot you are. Like, it blows my mind. And you know what blew my mind? How cringy 2023 was. If you agree, comment down below. But until next time, just be sure to share, like, subscribe, and I will see you around.